Hi, welcome to Journey into Parenting. So this is a space which is dedicated to helping you prepare for the amazing, life-transforming adventure of becoming a parent. And today I've got Emma from Bells and Babes here, and she's got a really exciting and creative business, which it's all about kind of being ethical and sustainable and taking care of yourself and your baby. So I wonder if you could just tell us a little bit about what you do, Emma?
Great, yes, thank you for having me. So I run Bells and Babes, which offers maternity, baby, and now actually nursing clothes as well to hire. So the maternity clothes, it's like a capsule wardrobe of 6 items, and you can either choose what I've got on the website, or I can actually do like a tailored capsule to suit your taste, because I basically found that when I was looking for maternity clothes, it was really hard to find clothes that actually I felt like me in. Mm-hmm. So that was why I kind of launched that one, and also to be a bit more sustainable, because a lot of people, me included, just didn't really want to spend money on buying these clothes that you're only going to need for a few months.
Yeah, that's so great. Like, it reminds me of I've kind of heard stories of like back in the old days when there'd be a box of baby clothes that was just passed around different people in the village, because actually it's just a short amount of time that you're pregnant, or kind of a small amount of time that you need to clothe your baby in that stage. So it makes so much sense, actually.
Yeah, and then obviously with babies, they just grow so quickly, and you just get overwhelmed with all the clothes that they've grown out of, just building up in the corner that you've got to somehow deal with by either selling on or passing on or storing, and then they're just no good when you get them out of storage anyway. So it just makes so much sense to be able to so what I do with that one is send a bundle of 18 items, and then when they grow, I send the next size up and they send the previous size back. So it's meant to be like a really hassle-free but also sustainable way of doing things. Really
That's
nice.
Fantastic. It seems like you found a really useful niche.
I hope so, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I like the element of self-care connected to this as well, because I'm doing this kind of course to help people prepare for parenthood, and that the first aspect of the course is letting go of your own identity, because I found that I went through a kind of grieving process during my pregnancy, because I had this kind of profound sense that life was going to be really different. I didn't know who I was going to be after this transformation. But also I think it's really important to kind of just take a bit of time when you're pregnant to get to know yourself again, and to sort of know what you need and what makes you thrive in the world, because I think a lot of people, you can kind of lose your sense of self a little bit when you have a baby, and it sounds like by offering women clothes that they feel really great about themselves in, that can help with that process.
Yeah, and it's like that's why I started the nursing clothes as well, because again, it's quite often a situation where you don't know, if you're breastfeeding, you're never going to know how long that journey is going to be for, and so you can be reluctant to spend money on clothes, or you might not want to buy nursing clothes because you're not back to your pre-pregnancy size yet, and then you just end up wearing horrible baggy clothes that make you feel awful. And then you've also obviously got like milk and everything like stained and getting spilt on you all the time, so being able to feel like yourself and stylish is really difficult when you've just had a baby.
It's interesting. I remember the first friend that came to visit me after I'd had my son brought me some like flowery hair grips, and I was like, oh, thank you so much, because everyone else had just brought things for the baby, and I felt like she'd actually sort of noticed me and brought me something pretty that made me feel kind of like cared for and feminine and all of that stuff. And,
I actually think what you're doing is really great, because I actually have just I've come on a bit of a journey myself this year, and I have been reflecting, because I just don't think I pictured what my life was going to be like when I became a parent. I didn't really know, and I'm not even sure if I even thought about it. It was just that feeling and that like sense that I've had that I've always wanted children, basically. But I don't think I ever envisaged what my day-to-day life would be like. And if I did, then it definitely hasn't met my expectations anyway. So I think it's really important to think about what you want your life to be like, but then also accept that it's probably not going to be what you expect it to be.
Okay. What do you think would have helped?
Oh, I don't know. That's a really tricky one, isn't it? But yeah, I mean, because I feel like, you know, my eldest is 4, and I feel like I've only just got to the stage where I'm starting to learn how to be the mum that I wanted to be, if that makes sense. And I'm still obviously not there. I'm definitely not perfect and not who I thought I was going to be. But yeah, and I also thought that I hadn't lost my identity. But I was kind of foolishly thinking I hadn't lost my identity, and I realised then that I actually had, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's really difficult. Yeah, I've been listening to, over the weekends I was listening to Kate Rawlings, who she's come up with this system called donut economics, and it's kind of allowing everything that affects our lives to be part of the economic system. Including, you know, caring for our children. And I think this is part of why we experience a loss of a sense of identity. If we're kind of, you know, if the main thing we're doing is caring for our child, because, you know, our culture is very kind of driven by economic factors.
Yeah.
And so if we don't have a place in that system, it's really hard to like maintain a sense of value.
Feel valued. Yeah, it is still really difficult to feel like you're doing something valuable and contributing like to your household, because you're not bringing in a salary as well. So yeah, definitely.
But actually what we're doing as parents is, like, in many ways it's more valuable than a lot of paid work that people are doing, because actually a lot of paid work, you know, when you get right down to it, it's not that meaningful. You know, often it's just about kind of selling things or kind of keeping consumer culture going. But actually, parenting it's kind of, it's real work. It's sort of investing emotional energy into
like shaping the next generation.
Absolutely.
It's a responsibility.
It is, yeah, definitely. And so, like, we deserve all of the support that we can get, I think, like structurally and on an individual level.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, cool. So were you a stylist before you started this business, or what's your background in terms of kind of fashion?
I kind of just fell into that aspect of it because my background was in sustainability,
cool.
like corporate sustainability. So I was working for a huge engineering company. And so basically for about 10 years, kind of on and off, I was trying to convince them that sustainability was the way forward, and that they could get like an advantage in the market if they were to embrace sustainability and actually embed it into the ways of working, rather than just seeing it as like an add-on, or like a lot of the time people see like being environmentally friendly as something you can just do on the side by, like, you know, recycling paper and things. But it's not about that. It's about actually like embedding it into the way you do things, like into the engineering designs. But yeah, so I was kind of doing that, but making really slow progress. And I was making progress, but it was really hard work. So yeah, basically I was offered voluntary redundancy when I was on maternity leave with my eldest, and I just thought, well, I'm just gonna see this as an opportunity basically to do my own thing. And yeah, the kind of stylist aspect of it just kind of evolved gradually, because I didn't start it off like that. I started with special occasion clothes because I thought that would be the kind of clothes that people would rent, because you literally only need them for 1 or 2 wears. But then I found that everyday clothing was actually more in demand, and that's then grown. And I just found somehow that I must be really good at it, because everyone's always so pleased with the clothes that I choose for them, and I was just getting really lovely feedback from everyone. So so that's something that I really enjoy now, and that's actually the main part of the business. It's the maternity capsules.
Yeah, amazing. And do you design the clothes, or do you select them?
No, so at the moment I don't. I source them from other brands already. I would love to design them myself, but it just feels like too much to take on at the moment in such a small amount of time. But it is actually surprisingly hard to get hold of stylish maternity clothes, and also sustainable maternity clothes in themselves, from sustainable brands and made out of more sustainable fabrics and things. But people are moving that way. So like Mamalicious are a brand that I work with, and they've got a awareness collection which is made of more sustainable materials, and that's amazing. Like they're really good. So that's good, but I'd rather have more brands to work with, or be able to design my own. But it's just too much to think about at the moment, because
totally.
so much you have to consider when you want to do it sustainably as well. Like right from the start, there's just like finding the fabrics and the, even things like the buttons and the threads, and who's going to make it as a big one. Like, I know you're going to make it in this country or abroad, and it's something I'm considering, but just thinking about all the time, really. Hopefully one day.
It's such an important subject. Like, I went to a talk at a festival a couple of years ago, and it was about modern day slavery, which is a really difficult subject, but that how actually virtually everything we buy, there will have been slavery or exploitation at some point during the supply chain. And actually just to kind of wake up to the fact that that's really what's going on. And most of the things you buy, it's very, very difficult to tell where every aspect of that piece of clothing, whatever it is you're buying, has come from. So I think it's really fantastic that you're going to that extent to really check out, even where the threads and the buttons and the fabric are coming from.
There are some amazing like tiny brands out there which are say like one person has just designed and got everything manufactured, and they have considered all of that, and that's amazing to see that there is that movement towards that. But I think it's really important to spread awareness about it, and luckily I think it has kind of reached the public eye a lot more recently because of Boohoo and the factories in Leicester. I don't know if you saw in the news about how so it's been known for a while that they've been using factories in Leicester where they don't even pay minimum wage, because they basically make it look like they've worked a lot more hours than they have. But also it came out during lockdown, they were forcing the staff to carry on going to work even if they had coronavirus symptoms.
It's really shocking.
And not just obviously down in the supply chain in the factories, where they even claimed that they didn't know which factories were producing their clothes, which is crazy, but also things that they were directly in control of, like their photo shoots. Boohoo was still doing photo shoots in the middle of lockdown, with people in confined spaces doing hair and makeup and not socially distant and everything. So that all came out, and I think everyone was just outraged, and so there's been a lot of change, and Boohoo are committing to changing that. And that's really important. It's basically increasing that transparency so that you can see where brands are sourcing their clothes from and what they're doing to make sure that people aren't being exploited in their supply chains.
Definitely. And I think it's, in a way, it feels like it's connected to the whole issue of parenting being more seen and valued, because it feels like it's linked to a kind of fundamental change in our value system, where we're actually we're valuing connection and relationship in each other rather than kind of fundamentally valuing our financial status. Because I think, if we're just driven by a financial status, it's easy to turn a blind eye to these kind of issues. Whereas actually, if we're focusing on meaning and connection, it means that we just don't need to put so much focus into having, I think. And if your life feels really meaningful, then you don't need as much stuff. And so just kind of having fewer things that are ethical and actually kind of just focusing on, making your life feel good.
Yeah, and I think we're really lucky in this country that a lot of us are in the position that we can afford to, say, spend more on one expensive quality sustainable item. Rather than lots of cheap things. But we have the luxury of being able to make that choice. But I think a lot of people are still focused on getting a bargain, and they just don't see that if something is cheap, then, like you said, someone has been exploited somewhere. They just think, oh, amazing, like what I found, and share it with everyone. And
it's great to kind of to create that culture and actually investing in clothes that you're you're going to keep for a number of
they're going to last.
Not
just because of the way they're made, but also because you've really thought about that purchase and when something that you're going to wear and that goes with the rest of your wardrobe and that fits with your lifestyle and all of these things.
Definitely. Great. Well, thank you so much. That's been a really fab conversation. I'll put a transcript in the show notes, and I'll put a link to your website and some of the other kind of sustainable brands that you've mentioned as well, because I think it's really great to just spread the word.
Definitely. Great. Thanks very much.
Great. Thank you so much. Okay. Bye.
Bye.